Journey. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Walking the Path. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited to have you guys and to have this opportunity today to be with you. So I'm excited to be here at Rhythmia. And there's so much going on at Rhythmia every week. It's just amazing, 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 amazing. So I'm going to actually stop this really quickly. Actually, I'm going to keep going. Actually, I'm going to keep going. I want to welcome you guys, and I want to tell you what's going on at Rhythmia this week. What's going on at Rhythmia this week? Spaceships, aliens, transformation, healing, the whole gamut of experience. We have an amazing group this week, and if you haven't been here, you got to know what happens here is a miracle. And what that miracle is a coming back to a state of wholeness. Hey, Dorota, good evening over on your side of the world. Good to see you. So what happens here is a merging, right? Coming back to a state of wholeness. We split from ourselves at some point in our childhood. We usually split out of protection. Something happens, and it could be something benign. It doesn't have to be something that we would consider traumatic, right? Because trauma isn't what happened. Trauma, Christopher Chamberlain. Wow, thanks, brother. Hola from Chile, Cristobal. Bienvenidos, bienvenidos. Buenas tardes. Tornado Joe, what's up? You're having a shitty day. Okay, right, here we go. So let's just say Tornado Joe, he's saying, I'm having a really shitty day. And I'm glad we're all going to make it better, brother. We're all going to make it better. Thanks for being here. Super glad that you're here. Okay, so I'm back to this idea of what happens, right? I'm a little kid. And I was saying trauma isn't what happened. Trauma is the story that we tell ourselves about what happened. The trauma is the story that we tell ourselves about what happened. Why is that the truth? And you know this is the truth because we all know of examples in life where there's been somebody that came from really tough situation, right? Tough life circumstance, and they clawed their way up to success. They made something out of themselves out of the worst possible situation. And we know people that have had every benefit, every advantage in life, and have ended up a complete screw up, right? So it doesn't matter what the circumstance is, it's what we tell ourselves about the circumstance. So trauma then isn't what happened. It's the story that we tell ourselves about what happened. For that reason, it doesn't matter if I didn't get to play Monopoly with my brothers and sisters, or if I didn't get held on time, or if I felt left out from a kickball game as a kid, or if on the other side, that whole other side of the spectrum, I was abused, abandoned, molested, in some way, harmed as a kid. Anything on that spectrum is anything on that spectrum, it's all the same, and to the extent that it doesn't matter what the circumstance is, but it's the story we tell ourselves. So here I am, a little kid. I'm happy, JJ, everything's cool. And I remember a situation, simple, benign situation, but it's a moment where I remember that I decided who I'm being isn't enough. It was a simple situation. I was sitting with my dad. I was maybe 5 years old, and I had a glass of orange juice. And my dad said, what do you got? And I said, I got a glass of orange juice. He goes, I'd like a glass. And I remember sitting there going, do I want to get him a glass of orange juice? I don't feel like getting him a glass of orange juice. And I said, I don't feel like getting you a glass of orange juice. And he said to me, that's okay. Don't worry about it. I'll remember that. And the next time you want me to do something and I don't want to do it, I won't do it. Now, my dad was a great dad. He was just doing the best he could to teach me that sometimes you got to do stuff you don't want to do, right? But the story I told myself was, well, if I don't do something, I'm not going to get love. If I don't do something, I'm not going to get my needs met. And in that moment, as a little kid, I went, well, whoever I was being before, honest with myself, in touch with my feelings, that's not going to get my needs met. I'm going to be left out. When I want something from my dad, he's not going to do it. So I have to do stuff in order to be loved. And I had this transactional notion of love, which led to codependency. I was split from myself right there. Boom. I have to be something else. I have to be whatever you think I need to be in order for you to accept me, so I can make sure that in the future, if I need something from you, you're going to take care of me. Simple. I wasn't abused. I had loving parents, right? So for me, it wasn't, but there are people that got, abandoned, abused physically, sexually, mentally, anything on that spectrum. We tell ourselves that story and we split. In other words, I project out who I think I need to be in order to get my needs met. And then we live this split life, who we really are, perfect, whole, and complete, in touch with our feelings, whole, and who we think we need to be. Don't worry about your feelings. Make sure that you do stuff in order to get people to love you so that you can have your needs met in the future. And we live this lie, who I think I need to be to get my needs met. When you come to Rhythmia, the first thing that medicine shows you is who you have become. It shows you that lie you've been telling yourself. And all you have to do is see the lie. All you have to do is admit, that's what I've been doing. I've been playing that character, and that's not who I really am. And just in seeing that, you come back to wholeness. You come back to a state of wholeness. And from that place of wholeness, you heal. You heal the body, you heal the emotional body, the mental body, the physical body, the spiritual body, and you forgive the unforgivable. That's what's going on at Rhythmia every week. It is miraculous. That's why we call it a miracle. Now, there we go. That's why I'm just telling you, come down and check us out. Today's topic, on to the topic. Today's topic is the inevitable present moment. Now, I've been thinking about this, and I have a story to tell you that's an illustrative story to tell you about the inevitable present moment. But here's the principle first. Here's the principle. The principle is that we live and move and have our beingness in a creative medium that responds to our thinking and our feeling, because our thinking produces feelings. So the universe doesn't hear us, the universe feels us. So this creative medium that we live in, we could call it consciousness. It's all around us. Consciousness is in everything. There is a fundamental intelligence to life. Molecules organize themselves in a particular way to cause chains of proteins and amino acids and all these building blocks, but it's all simple and it's all one. There is one truth, that all of life is one. It's a simple truth, and there's an underlying simplicity to life. So if all of life is one, and therefore everything is conscious, there's a certain level of consciousness that's in everything. Consciousness to the extent that it responds to its environment. Chains of molecules, chemical reactions are all going to respond to temperature and heat and circumstance. So there's a natural intelligence, even on the molecular level. There's a natural consciousness. Now, there's another layer of consciousness. When we talk about human consciousness, that's a self-reflective consciousness. That's a consciousness that can think about what we're thinking about. Molecules can't think about what they're thinking about, but there's an awareness of environment that responds. There's a responsiveness. So at the very basic level of consciousness is a response to your environment. Plants respond to their environment. They turn towards the sun. The flowers close up at night and open up during the day. There's a response to the environment. There's a level of consciousness there. So we live and move and have our beingness in consciousness. It's all around us. And there's a consciousness in our cells. Our very cells know how to remind us to eat, remind us that we feel good after we eat, so we'll want to eat again. They grow our hair and make our arms smell when we're all this stuff is happening automatically. There's a consciousness. So we live and move and have our beingness in a creative medium that responds to our feeling, that responds to us. Now, if that's the case, then what we are experiencing right now, whatever we're experiencing right now, is an effect of a series of previously held thoughts and ideas and perspectives and points of view. If the truth, there's another principle here, where our attention goes, our energy flows. Where our attention goes, our energy flows. Simple truth. We all I think we can agree with that. Where we put our awareness, where we put our attention, stuff starts to happen. So if where our attention goes, our energy flows, then our attention has been on something in the past, and our energy flowed there, and that is the inevitability of this moment. This moment is a condensation of our previously held awareness, where our energy has been in the past. So if that's the case, this moment right now is inevitable. Can't do anything to change now. All right. So if that's so, from that place, then right now, all we can do is accept. That's all we can do in the present moment, is accept what's so. This is the only way to short circuit the habitual thought patterns that have placed our awareness on something that we don't want. The habitual thought patterns that keep us locked in this way of thinking that we can't get out. It's called being stagnant. And we get into that stagnation when we get stuck in a way of thinking and keep putting our energy in something, and it keeps happening over and over again. So then right now, all we can do is be in complete acceptance of the present moment without judgment and opinion. Now, there's another principle here, that each moment, the now moment is all we have. There's no other moment. And each moment is full of infinite potential and infinite possibility. There's a quantum physics, Schrodinger's cat, right? There's a cat in the box. Essentially, there's a cat in the box, and we don't know if the cat's dead or alive. And the cat could be either dead or alive until we open the box. We don't know. So there's infinite possibilities. There's more than one possibility in that example. Until we place our awareness on something, we then confirm that next moment of the present moment, our current reality. So if infinite possibilities exist in every present moment, and waiting for us to place our awareness on it, then the only thing that we can do now, because this moment's inevitable from our past perceptions. Well, then if this moment is a condensation of our past perceptions, the only way to course correct for the future is to be aware in the present and to begin doing our work of placing our energy now so that we can experience a different effect in the future. So how does that work? Joe's having a bad day. He's having a shitty day today. And I feel you, and we all feel that. So Joe, brother, I'm not telling you, just put a smile on your face. Gray skies are going to clear up. Put on a happy face, right? Everybody's like, when that, I'd be like, fuck you. I'm having a shitty day. The best thing to do is accept right where you're at. You know what? How am I feeling? I'm feeling like I'm having a shitty day. Okay. There's a difference between just being in the shitty day and putting your awareness, your observation. I am having a tough day. That's an okay thing. I'm feeling challenged today. Like, at least you're in this acceptance of what's so. Because anytime you want something to be different, anytime I want a better present moment, a better body, to be more spiritual, to be thinner, to be smarter, to be richer, to be happier, to have a better husband, a better wife, a better boyfriend, a better girlfriend, a better job. Anytime I want something better, something more, what I'm fundamentally saying is right now isn't enough. And if our experience if our current experience is a condensation of our past perceptions, then if I am reinforcing by saying that I want something better right now isn't enough, all I'm going to get in the future is more. This moment isn't enough, because that's the energy, that's the attention that I'm placing. So I'm going to get more of that. So how do we course correct in the moment, in the middle of having a shitty day? Brother Jeff, good to see you. How do we course correct in the middle of the moment? The first is complete acceptance. First, I just have to accept where I'm at. I just have to be okay without judgment, because when I judge something, I'm limiting my awareness. And when I judge something, I'm not allowing myself to stay open to the potential of being surprised in the present moment. Because there are multiple pathways and opportunities in each moment. But when I start to judge it, it narrows the perspective. It narrows, I can only see that much, right? So this is where we begin to do our alchemical work. Brother Joe, in this moment, right? Right now, you're not having a great day. Okay, it's all right. Can you be okay with that? Can you be all right? Can you accept, like, all right, this is shitty day Joe? Like, that's it. Our awareness is the key. Buddha is not someone who's, smarter than you and I will ever be and lived about 2,500 years ago. No, the Buddha is not the guy's name. Buddha means awareness, means consciousness, awareness. So this is a teaching from Pema Chodron. She talks about this in a book called Start Where You Are, in a chapter entitled Give Up All Hope of Fruition. That's the title of the chapter. Give up all hope of fruition. And she's saying this, that if I'm hoping for something better, then I'm inevitably condemning the present moment, and I'm locking in the same thought pattern that got me here in the first place. So the first role is to accept. Can I bring my awareness? So she says that what she does is she just puts a Buddha on it. So if she's having a shitty day, that's shitty day Buddha. If she's angry, that's angry Buddha. If she's sad, that's sad Buddha. If she tripped and fell, that's Buddha that fell on her face. If she ate too much at lunch and has heartburn, that's Buddha with indigestion. Can we be that free from judgment about ourselves or about the present moment and just put a Buddha on it? Just put a Buddha on it, boo. And say, that's angry Joe. That's angry Buddha. There's my angry Buddha. There's my sad Buddha. So that's the acceptance of it, because there's not one part of us that doesn't deserve to be accepted. There's not one part of us that doesn't deserve to be loved. And here's the thing. Carl Jung says that judgment or opinion never liberates. Condemnation never liberates. Our condemnation of the present moment, our condemnation and recrimination of ourselves, our condemnation, crimination, judgment, and opinion of ourselves and others never liberates. The only thing that liberates is acceptance. And so we must accept the present moment in order to liberate ourselves into the future potentialities that are existing right now. So the first step of creating that which we wish to experience is a full acceptance of what's so. Shitty day Joe, Buddha, right? And then from that place, then we're just aware of it. Now I'm just bringing my awareness to it. And now we can begin to practice what Jesus talks about, not getting caught up in appearances. Don't get caught up in circumstance. Things are not always what they seem. So there's a great story about a man that lived in India, and he was very poor. And he would plow his fields by himself. He didn't even have money for horses or cows or anything. And he would plow his field by hand. And his neighbor came by and said, man, you're so unlucky. You're poor and you're having to plow. You're old. You have to plow your fields by hand. And it's just, you're so unfortunate. I feel so bad for you. And the guy goes, yeah, perhaps. And the next day, this horse comes. And he's out and he finds this horse and he comes back to his house with a horse and he's plowing the fields with the horse. And his neighbor goes by, goes, you got a horse? That's amazing. He goes, yeah, I found it. He goes, oh my God, you're so lucky. And the guy goes, perhaps. And then the next day the horse runs away. And the neighbor comes back. He goes, what happened to your horse? He goes, it ran away. He goes, oh, you're so unlucky. The guy goes, perhaps. Maybe yes, maybe no, perhaps. And then the next day the horse comes back with like 5 other horses. So he's got 6 horses now. The guy goes, what happened? His neighbor comes by, what happened? He goes, the horse came back with like 5 other horses. And the neighbor says, you are so lucky. He says, perhaps. And then his son is riding the horses and having a good time on the horse. And he gets bucked off and he breaks his leg. And his neighbor comes by and goes, oh, your son broke his leg on the horse. That's so bad. I feel so bad. You're so unlucky. The guy goes, perhaps. Because the next day, the king of the kingdom sent the military out to gather all the able-bodied young men to go fight in a war, but they couldn't take the guy's son because he had just broken his leg from riding the horse. His neighbor comes by and goes, oh my God, all the young men of the town were taken to war except your son. You're so lucky. And the guy said, perhaps. Right? No judgment of the present moment. It's an equilibrium, right? So So in now we get to free ourselves from the judgment of the present moment, and now we do our work, like Jesus said, is we don't get caught up in the circumstance. And from there, if the principle is that where our attention goes, our energy flows, and that this present moment is a condensation of past thoughts, beliefs, feelings, emotions, etc., ways of seeing the world, points of view, and perspectives, then we now begin to do our alchemical work to co-create that which we wish to experience. How do we do that? So here's where my story comes in from my friend. I've shared with you guys a couple of times about my friend who's in Italy and working through flowing with pancreatic cancer. And when she was first diagnosed, I called Reverend Michael and asked if he would pray. And he said, of course, I'll pray. What's her number? I'll call her. So Reverend Michael calls my friend in Italy, prays with her. And while he's praying with her, he says, I feel something wonderful is happening. I feel something wonderful is happening for Stacy, my friend Stacy. And I remember hearing him say that and being like, Reb, this is not wonderful. I don't know. How do you say pancreatic cancer is wonderful, right? But Reverend Michael was working with the next level. This moment, full acceptance. Next is to hold the idea, the frequency, the vibration of that which is seeking to emerge, that which we are seeking to co-create. So he lays down that fundamental principle by saying, I feel something wonderful is happening, even though the circumstance is not wonderful. But we're now beginning to open up to possibilities because each moment is packed full, bright with potential, full of hope and possibility. So I feel something wonderful is happening. Remember, the universe doesn't hear us, it feels us. So I feel something wonderful is happening is the prayer. And out of that prayer came so many miracles, miracle after miracle, assistance, unforeseen aid. There was a doctor here at Rhythmia. There were two doctors here at Rhythmia when we first got the diagnosis. One of the doctors flew to Italy to meet Stacy and to help her. Another one of the doctors happened to be working with specific strains of cannabis that cause apoptosis in cancer cells and connected me and us with somebody in the States who was helping to make this special compound with cannabinoids and terpenes. And I mean, miracle after miracle after miracle of unforeseen aid and assistance. Providence itself moved in. Now, if I were judging the present moment and said, this is bad, the only thing that's good is being healed from pain. Now, that's our ultimate goal, is that she's healed. But that would severely limit the possibilities. Wouldn't have accepted all of these unforeseen aids and doctors coming to assist free of charge and tinctures being made specially for her. All of this happening, all these wonderful things happening for our assistance in this story. So the point is, and now she's healing, right? 2 months, 2.5 months, almost 3 months after the diagnosis of a very, very aggressive cancer, the tumor has stabilized. We haven't been able to get her to do chemo yet because of a whole bunch of other circumstances. But the tumor hasn't grown. The doctors are amazed. They say it should have metastasized and we should be talking about palliative care right now. We should be talking about pain management. Instead, we're talking about surgery. This is more than an outlier, the doctor said. This isn't even an outlier. This is an out and out miracle. Miracle. Something wonderful is happening. So the point is that when we get to that moment, now the inevitable moment, can't do anything about it. All we can do is accept it, so that we can see the possibility without judgment. We open up and now we co-create through our feeling that something wonderful is happening. I feel this is going to be very good. I feel that something is emerging better than I could have imagined. This is how we begin to hold the frequency of that which is seeking to emerge. We have to midwife it. We have to husband it. It needs to be, we need to be in league with it. We need to place our energy and an awareness on it so that the next experience that we have is a condensation of these higher level points of view, feelings, emotions, and thoughts and beliefs. This is how we perform our magic. This is how we become magicians in our lives. This is how our word becomes our wand, right? That's the title of a book from Florence Scovel Shinn, a woman metaphysician from like the 1915s, 1920, and it's called Your Word is Your Wand. It's amazing. So now we're accepting the present moment. We're not getting caught up with circumstance, and we are holding the idea of something that's seeking to emerge. There's something great seeking to emerge for Stacy, and I'm not being too specific about what it is. Health and wholeness, vitality, love, joy, peace, tranquility, right? These are the qualities. How those qualities are going to show up, it's not my business. The how of it is not my business. What is my business is holding the vision, holding the idea. We have to hold that idea. And yes, Christopher, you're right. Beliefs plus thoughts and feelings and actions equal results, right? So it's the alchemist, the idea of alchemy, the ancient philosophy of changing base metals into gold, into precious metals, right? We can take that as a metaphor for us. Our thoughts of fear and doubt, lack and limitation, worry, judgment, and opinion are like lead. They're heavy, leaden thoughts. And so if I'm in the midst of a circumstance that's heavy and leaden, I have to have a little bit of that light golden idea, in order to transmute my heavy leaden thoughts. So this is where we get to place our awareness on that which is seeking to emerge, place our awareness, our energy on the truth that everything is always working out for us, that infinite intelligence knows the way to fulfillment, that every organ, every action, every function of my body, of my friend's body, has a perfect blueprint that is seeking to be revealed, that health and wholeness are seeking to be revealed, right? Whatever it is you're going through, I'm experiencing lack in monetary lack. I'm going to transmute those heavy leaden thoughts and say that all debt is erased. I'm going to hold the frequency of all debt erased. How that happens, none of my business. All debt is erased. There's no debt in the mind of God. There's no separation or division in the mind of God. Therefore, I can't be separate from my good. Everything that is rightfully mine is released and comes to me now. We begin to work with affirmation and intention to hold the frequency of something that is seeking to emerge despite the circumstance. And we can only hold the frequency of that which is seeking to emerge when we're not in judgment of the present moment. Because if I'm like, this is really shitty, when we're really in it, like Joe, if Joe's having that day and he's like, fuck, it's a shitty day. And it's not going to be appropriate for me to come up to Joe and be, Joe, everything's great, dude. You just have to be positive. I mean, in essence, that's the nut of it, right? That's the nuts and bolts. We must realize first is acceptance. To liberate, acceptance liberates our minds from the lead and heaviness of the present moment and allows us to catch a glimpse of what's seeking to emerge. Now, all of this is just a bunch of talk unless you've experienced it. You have to look in your lives and see that you've had demonstration after demonstration after demonstration in your life of something miraculous happening. You've had these experiences before. It's happened in an ad hoc manner, but you've had the experience of transmuting something and creating something that was better than you would have ever expected. We've all had a demonstration. And the more we do this, the more demonstrations we get. And the more demonstrations we get, the more confident we get. The more we do this, the more confidence we get, the more our word has power. So that when I'm saying everything that is mine is released, everything that's rightfully mine is released now and comes to me with ease and grace. When I'm saying that the infinite intelligence knows the way to fulfillment, then, or because I have experience, because I have the experience of so many demonstrations in my life, I speak that word and it is spoken with power because I know it to be true. So you have to do the same thing in your lives. You have to be scientists in your lives. You have to be experimenting with your life. Your life is the experimental lab. So try it out. Begin with something small. Begin with small stuff where you can where you can start to exercise this muscle. Exercise this muscle little by little. Okay. I have a question from JCT. Let's see here. Show the question. He says, can you please give me advice on connecting with loved ones as doing Aya tomorrow? Okay, Jay, yes, I can. I was just having this conversation with two different people at Rhythmia. So here's the thing. To connect with our loved ones, we must do so in joy. We cannot connect with our ancestors in sorrow. They are vibrating at way too high of a level to connect at sorrow. So we must meet them in joy. So that's the first thing, Jay, is you're meeting your ancestors in joy. And because they're experiencing life after life, they're experiencing life at a different octave, a different dimension. And so we must connect with them. We must raise ourselves up so we can meet, right? We have to raise ourselves up in joy. The next thing is to ask and to be open to meeting them in a different way. When I asked to see my father, and this is the conversation we were having at Rhythmia at lunch just before doing this Facebook Live, is my dad had passed away, and it'll be 2 years in May. And when he passed away, it was COVID, and I did a ceremony. And I asked to speak with him, and I heard him. I never saw him. I heard him. I was like, is this Dad or is this my voice? You know, I was like, Dad, is Mom there? And he's like, I thought you wanted to see me. I was like, oh, that's my dad. I go, I did want to see you. I was just wondering, if Mom was there to greet you. And he goes, yeah, she was there, but she's busy. I go, oh, okay. And what he said to me is, he said, you can rely on me for anything, son. You can rely on me for anything. And this is a message for all of us who have had deceased loved ones. You can rely on me for anything, and I can do more for you now than I ever could have on earth. And I shared this at the lunch table today. And the lady sitting next to me said, I just spoke with my deceased mom last night, and she said the exact same thing. Like the exact words, I can do more for you now than I ever could on earth. So Jay, know that you are always connected with your loved ones. And as you raise your octave, you can connect with them in joy and be open to receiving them in unexpected ways. We don't know how they're going to show up, but they'll show up for you. All right. Let's see if there's any other comments. Just sending y'all so much love. It was really beautiful to be with you today. I'll see you next week at the same time here at Rhythmia. Much love, peace, and richest blessings. Thank you.